All right, beautiful. Here we go. Great. Audio's working. Lovely. Welcome to another episode of Fix Your List, where you all submit a list for me and I'll look over it and fix it. Now, my Fix Your List segment is not just compartmentalized. Thank you, phone. Compartmentalized to. It's my phone telling me I've gone live. That's cute. My Fix Your List segment is for anybody, not just Nord players. So if you play, City States or Old Dominion or whatever, submit your list to me either through Discord or email it to me or whatever, and I'll fix it for you live in a morning stream. Gives me something to do in the morning, right? Cool. So today's list was submitted to me by Mr. Louise, who I'm just going to keep the Discord details off the stream. And he says, my design goal is to bring all three types of Jotnar. What I'm thinking is everything deploys very fast. Bow-Chosen and Stalkers whittle away and act as speed bumps. Huskarls and Valks further tar pit and hold on to objectives. This is great. So this person has clear defined roles for his regiments in a game of Conquest. Now, these defined roles may change slightly during the game, round by round, context permitting, but it is best to have roles for your regiments. Don't just pick regiments out of a hat and then play a game and wonder why your regiments aren't doing what you want them to do. That's because you have to start with what you want a regiment to do first. Be offensive, be defensive, be quick, be sneaky, be this, be that. Then pick the regiment to fill that role. Okay? And Jotnars come in right behind and then counterpunch. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and build the original list on yonder. We have a blooded warlord. So if you have a blooded warlord, that means you want two regiments to come onto the board automatically, except for round one, of course, because the blooded is not on the board. Okay? So on rounds 2, 3, and 4, you want to guarantee at least two regiments to come on the board automatically. Okay? And he's given his blooded the aspect of the crow. And the aspect of the crow, this character stand gains the Barrage 2 special rules. So the role for his blooded is primarily a ranged role. What does he have to go with the blooded? He has Stalkers. Make sure everything's appearing well on the screen. Good. He has Stalkers. No, we don't want that. We want that. And his Stalkers are naked and a Mountain Jotnar. And his Mountain Jotnar, well, has no upgrades, so Mountain Jotnars always come naked. So far, this is fine. The blooded comes on the board comes onto the battlefield round 1 automatically because Stalkers have the flank special rule, which let you either bring the regiment on automatically or delay it around. And a flanked regiment does not contribute dice to the roll for reinforcements. So if you have 3 lights, okay, and one of those lights has flank on round 1, you don't roll 3 dice. You only roll 2 dice. And then the regiment with flank, you decide whether you want to bring it on that round or hold it in reinforcement until the next round. And of course, once a regiment's class, light, medium, or heavy, has to arrive automatically, then you cannot hold a flank regiment longer than that. So on round 3, lights have to come in automatically, and a Stalker regiment with flank cannot hold itself in reinforcement until round 4. It has to come in on round 3, whether you like it or not. Cool. Then we have a Konungyr. And this Konungyr has just the dragon upgrade. So we have a naked Konungyr here. Typically, if you have a naked Konungyr, you're only taking the Konungyr for he's restricted or mainstay units. You don't really... He's basically a tax on what you're trying to bring into the game. That's the idea I'm getting from this list. He has Huskarls to go along with the Konungyr. Huskarls have a 6 stand count, and they come with the Thegn. The Thegn gives the Konungyrs a Bastion 1 draw event. And also, during a dual action, the character stand gains +1 defense, which is fine. Not really going to be dueling too much with the Konungyr, but a stock Konungyr with defense 2, evasion 2 is actually pretty defensive. Giving him defensive 3 in a duel is pretty nice. But the Thane's main gist is to give the Huskarls a defense of 4. So they normally have a defense of 2, plus a shield, defense of 3, and then Bastion, defense of 4 in the front. So it's a good defensive block. Then he also has Bowchosen. Naked unit of Bowchosen. Actually, I don't think they even come with any upgrades, right? Correct. And then Ice and Sea Jotnar. This is closing out his triple Jotnar idea of having one of each Jotnar. So he has the mountain, the ice, and the sea. So basically the surf and turf on ice. And then he has, finally, Volva. Volva comes in with Golden Torc. Golden Torc is 40 points, but it is a wonderful defensive item. Basically, the regiment that has the Golden Torc gains the Dread special rule, and the Dread special rule means that enemy regiments cannot gain the effects from Inspired, except where a regiment stand always benefits from the Inspired rule. So, we'll talk about my issues with Golden Torc in a minute, but let's move on. Rune of Shielding and Tactical 1. So we're going to go with Tactical 1 for the retinue. Tactical 1 gives the retinue Indomitable, which means you can automatically pass a morale test. So if you take 3 wounds from damage, and then you have to roll 3 morale tests, and you roll 3 dice, and you fail 2 of them, you pick one of the 2 and automatically pass it, which means you only take 1. Indomitable is pretty nice. And it also ignores the fearsome special rule and etc., etc., etc. It's not really that important. Indomitable is really taken for the automatic roll. And Rune of Shielding. Rune of Shielding. It gives the Valkyrie regiment that the Volva is in Bastion 1. Same as the Huskarls. The only issue and difference between the two is that the Huskarls Thegn is the upgrade. So the Huskarls will really never lose Bastion 1. Okay? But a Valkyrie regiment can lose the Bastion 1 because the upgrade is on the Volva. And if she dies in a duel, which has happened before, then the Valkyries no longer gain the Bastion 1. So keep that in mind. And Valkyries. We're going to get 1, 2, 3 for 6 stands and nothing else. Cool. So this is his list. Comes in at 1995. Great. And all of his... Whenever a list comes at 1995, just give somebody the dang prize silver. Let's just fix that right now, but we're going to do that in the fixed list. Okay, so let's go over to the fixed list. Okay. The fixed list, we're going to have the Blooded. The Blooded is going to have the Crow aspect, which is fine. The Blooded is going to stay the Warlord, and you get the Stalkers and the Mountain Jotnar. Nothing wrong here. It is no problem. This is perfectly fine. You literally can find nothing wrong with this build right here. So we're going to keep this the way it is. Very nice. Let's go with the Konungyr. Konungyr is naked, but as we know, we have 5 points to spend. So we're going to give the Konungyr the prize silver. Why not? Help him reroll maybe 1 or 2 failed impact attacks from the Huskarl regiment he is in. But here's where we start running into some issues. Okay? And this is a hurdle you have to overcome in Conquest. Nords specifically, because of how fragile the army is. Okay? Activation matters. So when a round starts, and you need a regiment to have Bastion to be defensive on turn, let's say 4, because you might suffer a charge from an enemy unit, an enemy regiment, but you then have a second defensive regiment that also wants to activate its Bastion, okay? Because it might suffer a charge as well. And this happens quite often in the mid game, rounds 3 through 5, right? The order of activation matters. So let's say you put your Huskarls first and then your Valkyries second, okay? What happens is if your opponent wins the supremacy roll, okay, this is the issue, and your opponent charges the Huskarls, you don't have Bastion, then your Huskarls activate and gain Bastion. But then your opponent goes again, charges the Valkyries. Now the Valkyries don't have Bastion, and then your Valkyries activate, if they're still alive at this point, to get Bastion. This is mitigated somewhat if you take duplicate units. Okay? If you take duplicate units, 2 Huskarls. Now, the issue is that Valkyries can only gain Bastion through the Volva, and the Volva can only get 1 upgrade per army, the Rune of Shielding. So when you take a Valkyrie regiment, it's always as a single anvil unit. Okay? You don't take multiple Valkyrie units. You don't do it. There's no point. So now, maybe you understand the issue with having multiple regiments that are relying on the activation for Bastion to be effective. And then when they're 2 different regiments, that compounds the problem even more. Because if you don't get the supremacy roll, then you're in for a world of hurt if your opponent has the correct order of cards to charge into you. Which, if you've played a couple games of Conquest, you should simply ask your opponent, that Huskar unit, does it have Bastion? Yes. That Valkyrie unit, does it have Bastion? Yes, it can get them. Okay, so I'm going to order my cards to charge them. Top 2 cards, charge them both. Because if I fail one, I'll get the other. And if I get one before my opponent does, then I'll get the other. Right? So it behooves you to be careful. I'm not going to mess with this list too much because I want you to try this out if you haven't already and see this for yourself. You need the experience to see for yourself, okay? So for the Konungyr, we have Huskarls. We have 6 of them. And they have a Thegn. Cool. Then you have Ice and Sea Jotnar. And then you have a Volva with Tactical 1, Rune of Shielding, and a Golden Torc. That's the thing. Because your Volva has the Golden Torc, your opponent is even less inclined to charge your Valkyries first, meaning they might charge your Huskarls first because it's easier to kill them with their Inspiring going off, which here comes a lot of context. It may be because you have the Golden Torc here, it'll force your opponent to stack their cards in a certain way. Maybe if your opponent, they're going to charge your flanks, then then it doesn't really matter too much. Your shield ability, okay? So this is the real sticky issue with having multiple defensive regiments in a Nord list, okay? And in wargaming, if you want to win at top tables, you need to eliminate as much randomness and risk as possible. You need the game to be consistent. Your planning to work as you've intended, okay? You have to mitigate all this random stuff out of here. And if you just have a single Valkyrie or a single Huskarl regiment, then you know you're going to rely on that regiment to be your anvil. There's nothing else going on, okay? So it's obvious where your anvil is. And it's more reliable for you as a pilot to navigate the round-by-round experience of the game if you just have one anvil to rely on. If you're playing other armies like, Dweg or OD, then it doesn't really matter because all your regiments, except for like Hold Warriors, maybe Wardens, I don't know, aren't really that defensive in comparison to other regiments of the same army. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. Cool. And I think I'm missing, what else? I'm missing one more. I am missing, Bow Chosen. Okay. Regiment of Bow Chosen. Cool. So, how do we fix this list? Now, in my opinion, if I were to see you in person, I would say, you know what, run this list as it is, okay? And then go from there, because this is a list where you learn the fundamental aspects of the game through trial and error. This is a list where if you play it 2 or 3 times, you're going to learn the importance. And when I mean learn, I mean you see it, you experience it, and you internalize it. The importance of activation order for Nords. Many of you out there who are going to be watching this video may not have had the Nord experience of different required activations to make your regiments effective in the game. And you may rationalize, without any practice, of course, in your mind, these scenarios where, oh, of course, I'm going to keep my Huskarls back, and I'm going to activate the Volva and the Valkyries first. You're going to rationalize all these things. But then when you actually play the game, and your opponent runs Strix 20 inches across the board into you, blocking one of your regiments up, or you get like 3 slingers shooting at a regiment. I mean, you need to practice with this list to learn the importance of activation order. Now, knowing that, I'd like you to play this list a few times. How would I play this list with the local sharks in my area? You know, the really sharp teeth, expertise players in my area. I get rid of the Huskarls because I need to only deal with 1 defensive anvil in a Nord list. That's it. Okay? Also, when you have 2 giant blocks of meat, it's harder for you to maneuver around the board and score, especially when it comes to wheeling. A 3 stand, because you have this giant back end of stands, it's unwieldy to get around the board. So what I would do, I think most of you know where I'm going to go with this, is I would go ahead and get another Bow Chosen regiment. And I think some of you know where I'm going to go with this. Okay? We're going to go ahead and take the Konungyr. We're going to get rid of the prize silver because he's no longer with, impacting a regiment. We're going to give him Raven Messengers. We're going to give him a retinue of a tactical 1. So the Konungyr now, from a regiment of Bow Chosen, from his stand, radiates 24 inches, so 12 inches around him. Resolve of 5. Why does that matter? You may be thinking there are not a lot of regiments in this list. Mountain Jotnar only has resolve of 3. You can't increase it. Ice Jotnar, Sea Jotnar for 230 and 250 points. Resolve of 3, resolve of 4. You can't increase them. Hey, Piorte, what's up? Your Konungyr in the back lines will help increase the survivability of your giants by making them resolve 5. Okay? That's huge for giants. That's huge. All right? It could also help out Valkyries. Now, Valkyries are resolve 3 with a Volva and a 6 stand. That actually makes them resolve 5. Because once you have 7 stands in a regiment, you become resolve plus 2. But the second you lose a stand, you drop down. So you become resolve 4. So the Konungyr's Raven Messenger, they're going to make your Valkyries even tankier. So now your Valkyries are ignoring the inspired special rules from your opponent. Sorry, my mustache is itching. And you now have a high resolve that will never go down unless you become broken. Once you're broken, then I believe you have to use the regiment's unmodified characteristic or something. I forget offhand. But your Raven Banner is a force multiplier that the Huskarls are not. Because the Huskarls are doing the same job as the Valkyries. Hold the center. Or go to one. If a scenario has 2 pie plates or 2 objective zones to hold, Valkyries go on 1, and then your army basically splits between the 2, right? The majority of your giants go to the other one because they don't have the Valkyries to support them. And then your Konungyr, with the 2 Bow Chosen regiments, can seek new escort to move his Raven bubble around. So if you have the 2 regiments like so, you can have the Konungyr seek new escort, what is it, like 10 inches? Because I think he's moving 5, right? Yeah, 10 inches to the other one other regiment, and that regiment reforms, shoving him to the left or wherever you need to go further. So the Konungyr's Raven Messenger banner between two uncharacter-occupied regiments extends that Raven Messenger banner as you need them to be. Now, doing so does eat up an activation. So sometimes you just, once you hit rounds 3, 4, and 5, you need to charge. You need to charge before anything else. So maybe you'll have your top card be a charge regiment, then your second card, if you need to, have the Konungyr hop into another regiment. Also keep in mind that Konungyr is medium, so he can score in different zones if he hops into the Bowchosen and moves his stand around to score. So I can't explain, if a player has not played with a Raven Messenger Konungyr, you don't know how powerful this character is. He's one of the best support characters in the entire game, if not the best support character in the entire game. I've not seen another character in this game force multiply their army with just like an upgrade as much as the Konungyr with the Raven Messenger banner does. Okay? So now you have 40 points to play with, and you can pretty much throw those 40 points wherever you want. Sometimes I like to stick a banner in my Stalkers. It's just 10 points, and my Stalkers now move 6 plus 7 inches, plus a Vanguard. I mean, they can get almost anywhere you want. That extra inch could help you get into range of shooting a light regiment, like maybe a hold ballista or something that just foolishly came onto the board, extended way too far forward. So you could do that. The Volva, since you took the Golden Torc, what I typically like to take is, I think it's the Rune of Fate. Tenacious, yeah. Because Rune of Fate automatically passes one defensive fail, and if you pass a defensive fail by proxy, you've passed a possible resolve fail. So Tenacious actually saves you 2 wounds. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, but the Golden Torc, not allowing your opponent to have Inspired, minuses 1 from their clash, basically. That's really good. True. This is where Golden Torc is meta-dependent. Golden Torc is not an item where it is a go-to in every list. Raven Messenger is. You can take a Raven Messenger Konungyr in any Nord list, and it'll make the list better. Now, it costs some points because he has Bowchosen or to go along with. It's a hefty tax to do it, but that Resolve 5 keeps your army alive a lot longer than Nords have any right to be alive, right? Golden Torc, though. If you take Golden Torc against OD, worthless. Because once OD hits tier 3, which they should be doing by, I don't know, round 4 in their sleep, round 5 possibly, they're now always inspired. Guess what? Golden Torc doesn't work anymore. Okay? Golden Torc doesn't work against cav units that have, I don't know, shock. Whatever gives them a +1 clash, or +1 clash on the impact hits, Golden Torc will not work against. Tenacious will. Golden Torc will not work against. So if you play, it's meta-dependent. If you play a lot of armies that have always inspired, or if you play armies that have, shock, or any way to just get +1 clash without the actual inspired rule, then Golden Torc's not going to help you. So if you play an opponent that Golden Torc is going to work against, another Nord player, funny enough, right? Go for it. Golden Torc is great. But I would take Golden Torc out, give her Runes of Fate. It's going to open up some more points, 50. And I'm wondering if we could just jam another unit in here. Let's say we took Valkyries, removed 1 stand to make it an even 6, because you're relying on the Konungyr's Resolve of 5. You don't need that extra stand of Valkyries. If a regiment or regiments are going to wipe out 7 stands, then 6 is not going to matter. 1 less is not going to matter, right? That opens up some points. Is it possible to even squeeze a unit in here? Let's get rid of the standard bearer for the Stalkers. And funny enough, let's get rid of... No, I did get rid of that one. Darn. 5 points away. Is there an upgrade I can get out of here? No. I was trying to shove a Raider regiment in here, right? It's just always good to have Raiders running around, but it's 5 points over. Now, the question is, What would I get rid of to invest an extra stand running around the board? What would I get rid of? I don't know. This is very interesting. I don't know. Thinking. I don't want to get rid of a stand. I like the 2 bow chosen, like the Stalkers. I guess this list is just going to have upgrades on your units. So since we're upgrading, we can go ahead and get that extra stand. We can give the Valkyries a standard bearer. Can we upgrade the Volva any more than she already is? No. I feel like I'm missing something here. Runes of Fate, Runes of Shielding, Tactical 1. No, I guess she is what she is. Okay. We could give her more tactical. What other tactical would help her out? Would an extra dice help her casting out? I guess healing it would. You could do that. But let's see what unit upgrades we can get. Bow chosen famously nerfed into oblivion. Have no upgrades, which is fine, I guess. Stalkers, command model, we can go ahead and give them that standard bearer. I guess we can pump up our units a little bit. The blooded, since you're making him a shooty blooded, right? You have a couple of options. Okay. You can give him the fire and advanced draw event, which lets you shoot. Because now the blooded could jump into the bow chosen if you need. So the bow chosen can now shoot and then move. Or then, I'm sorry, they can take aim, right? Volley, and then get your free move with fire and advance, move back 3 inches. You could do that with fire and advance. Marksman, if you just want more shooting, you can give your dude Marksman. You can also give him a retinue for something. Tactical, just Indomitable is always good. You can give him another aspect if you want, but he doesn't need another aspect. The Konungyr is fine the way he is. You don't want to give him too much crap, because if you start giving him too much crap, he starts becoming something you don't want him to be. And just for lulz, you can give him the Eagle for Seize the Day. It's the bootleg Turn the Tide. Why not? Just for lulz. Doesn't cost him anything. So just so I don't say for an hour and dote on this list too much, we're going to go with the Trove find of... let's see. Horn of Hjoldgar is nice. Your ones do extra hits. I guess we can go with Horn of the Hjoldgar, which gives us 15 points. And then for a mastery, we can get Marksman for more shots. So now your blooded is shooting 7 times. Okay. And you're getting extra hits on ones. So on average, you're going to get, let's say you take aim with them, you hit with half of them, 3 or 4. One of them is going to be a 1. So you might get anywhere from 4 to 5 shots from the blooded, which is interesting. So the blooded is now shooting away, and you're at even 2,000 points. So I'll go ahead and put these lists up in the description of this video once it finalizes, and you guys can take a look and try these lists out yourself. So once again, try the list you have. If you own these models, try them as they are, so you get a better feel, if you haven't already, of the activation issues Nords face. And then switch over to this list if you have the models, right? Proxy some bow chosen if you don't have them, and run them around and have fun. So if you guys want to submit any lists to be entertained by, to see me either fumble through a list or actually help you out with a list, just hit me up on Discord or send me an email. A list for any army. It doesn't have to be Nords. Any army, okay? Join my Patreon. It helps me out more. Once I reach a certain threshold, I'll be doing this more full time, but as it currently stands where it is, it just ain't cutting it at the moment. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget the sub, etc., etc. I'm almost going to hit 500 subs soon, which is actually insane. It's pretty awesome. So remember, when you need a 2+ to charge, don't stick to anvil units in a Nord list, because you're going to be in a world of hurt. Peace out. Oh yeah, have a good day, Bruce, and Pieter. Pieter? I don't know. I don't know Japanese that